Hi, welcome to almost Sunday evening, 7 p.m. VoiceTech. Generally, we take VoiceTech. Last week we couldn't do because I had my concert in Varkala, then followed by my father and Guru, Trivandrum Sri Arasmani's centenary celebrations. We all celebrated full of music. It's a music carnival, December 19th, from morning 9 a.m. to evening 9 p.m. Students across the globe, everybody participated with full of enthusiasm. The most interesting thing is they all bonded. 2 days rehearsal we had. They all bonded together. It was so beautiful. The famous Arjun Subramanian is here. The student I'm so proud of, who did my Arangetram, and his video went millions viral. Now, when Arjun came and he told me, Auntie, can I come and visit you? So I said, Arjun, today 7 p.m. I do the live. So why don't you just share what all you underwent with your teacher, with the most demanding teacher, and your metamorphosis. He will be in USA. We crossed COVID. We crossed so many things to attain his Arangetram level. And so he can explain to you what are all the stages and challenges. He studied, he was a schoolboy, he went to college, now he is working. So many stages. He took it so beautifully, I thought, but the challenges he underwent, he will explain to you. Take over, Arjun.
Thank you, Auntie. And thank you. I'm honored to be here. The first thing that when I came to Auntie, I was 13. I was singing in F sharp Shruti. Now I sing in a Shruti that's a lot lower. And that process was quite tough because the voice became quite unpredictable. And I was in a previous music school, and the rest of my group were all girls. And I was just not able to hit sa re ga ma pa above. It was just impossible. And Auntie took me on at a point when it was very, very difficult, I guess for all parties, to make a good voice out of a situation that was a bit crumbly. So that's the first thing I'm very grateful to Auntie for. That those 3 years, from 13 to 16, there was a very nice stabilization effect that was achieved. And that would not have been possible unless for the vocal drills you taught me early on, starting from singing Vadnams fully in the lower octave, and how with your voice it's almost like a contrast where if you sing very high for a long time, you can go super low. And then vice versa. Where you sing very low for a long time, then you can retain some of those high notes. So this vocal manipulation was a very important aspect. But from a more motivation, attitude standpoint, I was a bit of a difficult child at 13, 14, 15. I'll even admit myself, and I'm sure Auntie would.
But I want to ask why it was difficult. But in a child's point of view, it should be normal, right? Maybe we would have interpreted it as difficult because you don't follow us. But what was your challenge? You were very true to yourself. Like the challenges were true, right?
Definitely.
What was it?
A lot of it was the discipline of practicing at least several times a week, if not every day. And I didn't realize this until very late, but the best way to practice is if you're not feeling, some days we all lose that motivation. It's very normal. We all seem to think that action follows motivation. In fact, motivation follows action. So if you don't want to sing alapane, sing, I don't know, Giriraj Sada, it's pretty easy and simple, and then you'll want yourself to sing one more song, and then one more song, and then sooner or later you'll be like, okay, why am I not singing this alapane? Let me try it out. So it's definitely that's an important part. And going on the next stage after school,
Before that, you should be ready for your entrance exams, or that challenge will be there, and you can't leave the music also. How did you manage both? Hours and hours for studies, right?
There were some points where I slacked off, in all honesty, but Amma and Appa were always there to remind me not to do so, and
Very good.
and I got better at it as I got older. That's all I can say, right? But you find quality over quantity is also important, because
Correct.
if you only can practice for 15 minutes, might as well practice the hard thing and might as well do the thing that helps your singing the most. Instead of just singing whatever, it should be intentional and with quality. And in fact, I would even go so far as to say, for anything, do it well. Doing it well is a lot better than doing a ton of it and just kind of going
True.
through the motions. And I mean, there's a point where you have to do it, but do it well. And then moving on to the next phase, which was college. This is also something my sister Abhi was talking to me about earlier today. That in many colleges,
Abhi did her Arangetram yesterday on 19th.
Yep. And she is currently a student, and she faced this challenge over the last year. Most schools and facilities, if you are a music major or in the music program, they allow you very well to have resources to practice, rooms to practice. But we all know how these college, university campuses are. They tend to be just spaces for class and group study. So finding rooms to practice is quite difficult. And sometimes your roommates don't necessarily want to hear singing at 9 p.m. at night, right?
Correct.
So
True.
they have two options. One is enlighten them and show them how good Carnatic music is, right? Fortunately, one of my roommates came around to this after a year of singing. But the other option is do it at weird hours. And
Weird hours.
obviously we have all these time constraints in college where classes are at different hours and the exams are a certain week. But it's really ultimately do what you can when you can, and don't stop having classes, because if you're talking to Auntie and singing for and with Auntie, it's always in the psyche, and if you let it fall out of the psyche, it's as they say, out of sight, out of mind.
Correct.
And you want it to be in sight.
Super.
And the last thing I wanted to go over is kind of my current stage. For many people, work life is harder than college, but I had the fortune of being an engineering student, and engineering students, oftentimes the school is harder than work. And that's at least been the case for me for the past 7 months since I started. And since then, it's been such a relief, since I've had time in the evenings to go and practice, and classes got a lot more regular, and there were none of these exams. There are hard weeks, easy weeks, we all know at work, but it's
Much better.
It's a lot better. So if you're a college student, my friend, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
So beautiful.
So, was there anything else you wanted me to add about
I
this,
think
Auntie?
we are on time. We can switch over to. Thank you so much, Arjun.
Oh, you are most welcome, Auntie.
Now,
I'm honored to be your student.
thank you once again. So one more important aspect parents ask me. So let me introduce Thangam Chandrashekaran, Arjun's mom, Yesh Subramanian, Yeshwant or Yesh, I can see.
Yes, sir.
Yesh Subramanian, Arjun's father. I always say the parents, or to be my students' parents is most tough, because I never speak through the parents. I said parents should be there, should not be there. There are teachers who will say parents completely, they can come inside, they only talk to the parents. Or some students will say they will only talk to the students. But I will say the parents should be there. Why? Because I want them to create the environment for the child, as Yesh says. As Arjun said, the father always reminds him, Arjun, did you practice? So that part, I want Thangam and Yesh to explain to you all, because you keep asking me what we should do. So now I will show you the most successful parent, in my case, Thangam.
Thank you, Visalakshi. I'm really honored to be here. I think Arjun touched upon the challenges that he had when he started as a student with Visalakshi, which was his voice was breaking and he had to really focus on that. But I think what encompasses all of this is a prior teacher once told me that learning music or any art is a three-legged stool. There are three legs to that stool. The first being the guru, who is imparting the knowledge and the tradition. The second being the student who is learning all of that. And the parent or the caregiver, whether it's the parent or the grandparent who is the predominant person, becomes the third part of the stool. We took that to heart. And so what that meant was to sit with Visalakshi and understand what her goals are, so that we could really imbibe those goals for ourselves and be a support for Arjun in the process. It also meant that I had to see Visalakshi as guru and I as the parent had to see eye to eye what the goals were for this whole process. Absolutely. So that as long as we stuck to the goals, there was no discussion of who is right and who is wrong. The other thing I have to say, that having been through a few teachers, is the kind of attention and care that Visalakshi gave from day one for both my children was extraordinary and continues to be extraordinary. And so if Visalakshi demands a high level of perfection from them in terms of attention and effort, and Visalakshi was always very clear that it wasn't about the outcome, it was how much effort that both kids put in. And so for me, when a teacher is giving 2,000% effort, the least she can expect is the student to be giving that kind of effort. So I felt completely comfortable. If at all my kids came to me with a complaint, was to say, teacher varalo liyo, ettana dedicated irka, ningalo adudam pannanom. As parents outside the US, I think one thing that I think is really valuable is, and we were homeschooling our kids at that time. The kids and I took a sabbatical for 6 months and came and stayed in Chennai. And they came for in-person classes with Visalakshi for about 3 months. And the connection that they got with you, that I got with you by sitting daily and watching you, I think that is super important to do, because ennadan technology help pannalum, and the vibe and the connection that came with in-person classes was amazing. The last challenge that Arjun didn't mention, which I think was pretty severe, at least in the first few months, was Arjunu Abhirami, they had learned from a prior music teacher with a different tradition. And Visalakshi's style and tradition was different. So I think there was a lot of tension. எனக்கு நன்னா ஞாபகம் இருக்கு, நான் இப்படிதான் பாடுவேன் அப்படிமோ, நீங்க வந்து இல்ல நீ இப்படிதான் பாடணும்னு சொல்வேன். And over time he saw the beauty of your tradition, but that took time. I think that was probably the most tension-filled things. They were ready to mold.
I enjoyed that interaction very much, because he was very honest.
And
he was not pretending.
And one thing you told me was, அவன் கொஞ்சம் கோச்சுண்டானா, when I used to come in the middle, நீங்க சொன்னேன் அவன் கோச்சுக்கட்டும் விடுங்கோ, let him be truthful. Yes. So I stepped back, because the teacher had given me permission to say that if your child is a little bit out of line, and I gave complete permission to the teacher that given you are accepting him being difficult, you have permission to put him in line at that time. So and the trust எனக்கு இருந்ததனால it has been a really smooth process.
For parents, I'm saying this part is very important. Put the trust on the teachers. Never blame the teachers.
And you have to sit and observe. And அந்த 6 மாசம் நான் இங்க வந்து ஒவ்வொரு கிளாஸ்க்கு வந்து அப்சர்வ் பண்ணினதுனால எனக்கு அந்த ட்ரஸ்ட் நன்னா பில்ட் ஆனதுனால, after that I was happy to say, நீங்க and நீங்க வந்து you were ready to take, அவன் வந்து கொஞ்சம் படுத்தும் போது you said it's okay மா படுத்தட்டோம்மா, அவன் ஆனஸ்டா இருந்தா தானே எனக்கு அந்த ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் இருக்கும்னு சொன்னேன். So I have great respect for that. For me those just stand out. நீங்க அது வேற ஏதாவது கொஸ்டின் இருந்தா கேளுங்க, but this is what stands out for me on why the journey has been as smooth as it has been.
Absolutely. So let me add 2 points, maybe 1.5. One is, as a parent who was more in the background, I have not sat through all the classes. I was more involved in the logistics and making sure the kids were continuing to commit on their own behalf to Carnatic music.
Correct.
And the good news is the commitment came from inside. We were not forcing anything. So I think it's very important over time. The children should know the why. why am I doing this Carnatic music?
Absolutely.
Right? And as sitting in the US, and we've been in the US for more than 30 plus years, so the kids were brought up there. I think Carnatic music is the only thing that ties us deeply to India for us. You know, our food has changed, our clothes have changed, we speak English most of the time now, but Carnatic music is central to tying us all to India. So that became very clear as a larger message. And those of you who are in Malaysia, this may be more relevant because you're sort of a little bit away from mainstream India. Number two, and there in US is actually very active in Carnatic music, so it helps. WhatsApp groups, etc. So make sure you have local communities to support you because we don't have, in the US, we didn't have other students from Visalakshi, Srimati Visalakshi, so we were on our own. So I think it's a little harder when you're on your own. So make sure you have community support. Second point is understanding process. Carnatic music drills you on process. I was sitting there last night with my son, who's now 23, singing, and I was thinking him back at 3 years old when he was learning ABCD and all that stuff at that point. Here's a kid now sitting there at double, triple speed with Vidwans playing in the back. Multiple ragas, Shrutis are going back and forth in certain combinations which I don't even understand since I'm only moderately educated in Carnatic music. And they are in permutation, speed, sung correctly, said correctly with rhythm, with the percussionist to make music out of this and make it all sound good at the same time. All out of your head and with changes at the last minute from the guru. This was the best career preparation any of these can ever have, in my opinion, because you are asked to think on your feet. You're asked to work with multiple things that you can't over-rehearse and memorize and get away with because something will change. So I have deep regard on life preparation as Carnatic goes because that I didn't expect how important this is. Thanks to my wife's vision, we went in there. But boy, did it pay off. Then that's what I sat there yesterday saying, man, this was the right call. And I'm not saying this because this is a video or anything. I just felt it yesterday saying, man, this is unbelievable what this tradition is bringing in today's days. Thank you.
Can I add one
Yes,
more thing?
please.
I just wanted to add one thing because yesterday I had, on 19th, I had a chance to talk to a parent from Malaysia who was talking about, நாங்களா third generationல இருக்கோம் and still culture வந்து பண்றது கஷ்டமா இருக்கு. நீங்க first generation, நீங்க immigrants எப்படி பண்ணீங்க? I think one of my brother's friends who is a Mridangist told me, வேற ஒன்றும் பண்ணலைன்னா பரவாயில்லம்மா, அந்த பாட்டில் இருக்கு பாரு, அது பாடுறானோ இல்லையோ, அது உள்ள போயிட்டே இருக்கும் அவனுக்கு. அதுலயே அந்த ட்ரெடிஷன் வந்துடும். அந்த மாமி சொன்னா இல்லையா, I will make friends of Kalyani and Bhairavi சொன்னா இல்லையா, அந்த மாதிரி they had he's not,
he's always with something which is
வேற ஒன்றும் பண்ணலன்னா பூனல் போட்டுக்கல, சந்தியாவந்தெல்லாம் பண்ணல, இதெல்லாம் ஒன்றும் வேண்டாம். அந்த connection with this tradition is, it's so superior. நம்ம வந்து பிளான் பண்ணாலும் அது வராது.
very strong.
ஆமா, அது வந்து நான் எக்ஸ்பெக்ட் பண்ணல. ரொம்ப நல்லா இருக்கு.
Correct. Thank you so much. In 1 minute left, so let me wind it up. So this is what I keep telling my students, like, it is not a career, let it not be a career option, let it be your lifestyle. As Yesh said, that it is going to completely align, center you, completely make you a better human being, a better listener, a better performer. Wherever you go, you will be successful. Arjun will complete.
Yep, that's right. And I agree with all of the above. And I do have to say, one unexpected benefit from singing is public speaking and speaking voice. Because when you sing, you learn how to project yourself. And there are so many people out there, they have so many brilliant ideas to say. You never hear it because, one, they're too soft. Two, they don't say it in a way that people listen. But when we sing, we learn how to make others listen.
Correct.
So how does that training not apply to the rest of our life? Thank you
So much. Thank you.
Thank you.